what's up, pinheads, and welcome back to Psychopinion. Tonight, we're doing something a little different. We're stepping away from the slashers, haunted houses, possessed dolls, and killer clowns, and diving into one of the biggest mysteries humanity has ever faced. Are we alone? For thousands of years, people have reported strange lights in the sky, mysterious flying objects, encounters with beings that shouldn't exist, and events that still can't be fully explained. Now, maybe it's all misunderstandings, maybe it's secret military technology, maybe it's mass hysteria. Or maybe, just maybe, we've been sharing this universe with something else the entire time. Tonight, we're taking a journey through the complete UFO timeline, from ancient sightings to Roswell to Phoenix to Navy pilots chasing Tic Tacs, all the way to modern government hearings where officials openly admit, yeah, we don't know what some of this stuff is. So buckle up, pinheads, because whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, this is the story of humanity's longest-running mystery. Let's go. Yeah, realistically, it's not anything too new. We've been covering aliens because they're supposed to be talking about aliens, right? Soon.
Yeah, we got a big day coming up.
Is it planned? Have they put a date out yet when they're going to talk about this?
I don't think so, but obviously I think the majority of the people who are hung up on this topic are waiting for this Friday, which is Disclosure Day.
Disclosure Day.
Yeah. And based off of everything that I've seen, the trailers and the different people talking about both the trailers and things leading up to it, it is quite exciting. And I can't help but be excited myself.
Well, I'm excited for you, Steve.
I'm seeing it on Friday night. I was going to ask if you are.
Sounds like something I'm going to have to check so we can discuss it further.
Absolutely.
So what I've done tonight, guys, I've put together a little timeline here where I wanted to go ahead and cover some of the, recorded mysteries, if you will, surrounding UFO sightings, UAPs as we call them today, which I'm still anti. I still like the UFO thing. But we're going to start all the way back in 1450 BC, something called Ezekiel's wheel. One of the oldest UFO theories comes from the Bible. The Bible, Steve. It comes from the Bible. The prophet Ezekiel describes a strange wheel within a wheel descending from the heavens. Some interpret it as a spiritual vision. Others believe it sounds suspiciously like advanced technology. The debate continues thousands of years later. What do you think about that, Steve? I don't really know what spiritual sighting or spiritual interpretation, spiritual vision you could get from something like that. I mean, it kind of sounds pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the biblical, circumstances or situations where people have come up with different ideas of what it could have been. The burning bush, for example, or potentially asteroids or things of that nature in the sky are pretty clear on what they are today. To hear of a wheel within a wheel, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. At least it doesn't add up with anything that could be natural, like a space rock, for example, or lightning strike. So that's pretty intriguing. And it's in fact the first time I've ever heard about it.
But from there, we go to 74 BC, the Roman silver shield. Roman historians describe a glowing silver object crossing the sky before a battle, one of the earliest written accounts of an unidentified aerial object. I'm going to say this, though, like as we go through these, one of the most interesting things to me and one of the most compelling to me is that a lot of these things were, it's not like it was just one dude. I mean, these are recorded things by multiple people. Multiple people have seen these things. I don't know. I always feel like there's a lot more validity to things, which there should be. And obviously, there would be. Many people see something rather than one,
Sure. Absolutely. And once again, something, a silver, like a flaming silver object, like they said, I mean, that to me could potentially be some sort of meteorite or something, a fire in the sky, so to speak. So, and I believe that 99 times out of 100, that's what this stuff is, just misconstrued by people that don't know any better. Certainly back then.
That makes sense. 74 BC. I mean, I'm sure we weren't very advanced with our astronomy.
Astronomy.
They weren't very,
Delhi knowledgeable.
Exactly. Well, now we have a huge jump because we're going from 74 BC, the Roman silver shield, to 1561, the Nuremberg sky battle. Citizens of Nuremberg, Germany, reported witnessing strange objects apparently fighting in the sky. Spheres, cylinders, cross-shaped craft. It remains one of the strangest mass sightings ever recorded. This one's a little strange, man, because if they're saying that they were fighting, it's obviously doesn't seem like it'd be like meteors just going one direction, perhaps like a meteor shower or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, that is a tough one.
And I mean,
Although,
it's 1561, so that can't even be like, aircrafts from another country,
right, right. No, that's true. Some of these things that are called out to be things that they didn't have any idea about that we know about today, it's easy to be, say that no, that's not anything special. It's just a meteor. That's the sun reflecting off of something, or that's a plastic bag.
Magnificent.
So
We also know that history is kind of seems like almost like a game of telephone sometimes, from what really happened to what we get, I'm sure,
absolutely, for sure.
But we are going into more modern times where things will be a little bit, better recorded, I suppose I should say. Because now we're entering the modern, I've got it down as the modern UFO era begins. And this one starts in 1896 to 1897. The Great Airship Wave. Thousands of Americans report mysterious airships years before modern aviation exists. Witnesses claim to see giant flying machines crossing the night sky. Some even report meeting their pilots.
And you said that these were late 1800s?
1896 to 1897. And then they met their pilots. I don't even know what that means. I'm not really sure what that means, that they met their pilots.
I don't know.
Going to 1942, now we're going somewhere around, we're going to be in the World War II era here. Following Pearl Harbor, anti-aircraft guns fire into the night sky over Los Angeles at an unidentified object. No aircraft was recovered. No official explanation satisfies everyone. Okay, so over Los Angeles. But the thing is, though, is here's the problem with this one, though, is that if there was anything recovered, I'm sure that would not have been covered. If you know what I mean?
Sure.
So that one was interesting.
Remember the Rage Against Machine album, Battle of Los Angeles? I wonder if that was a play off of that, or if it had something to do with something else.
Yeah. I will add that in right now if it was. Thank you, future Jake. The event that changed everything. June 24th, 1947, pilot Kenneth Arnold reports seeing 9 objects, not 8, not 10, 9 objects flying near Mount Rainier. He describes them moving like a saucer skipping across water. The media creates a new phrase, flying saucer. Modern UFO culture is born.
Very interesting. And to my knowledge, Mount Rainier is often very, very foggy, which would make for a great hiding spot if you wanted to park your buggy up in the sky and not be seen. So
that'd be kind of cool, though, because then it'd be like that movie that you love. What's that movie that you really like? The Nope, right? You love that movie, right?
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, where it comes out of it's like the weird thing coming out of the clouds.
Yeah, the bed sheet. Yes.
Yeah, that was a weird looking UFO, man. I don't know what was going on with that.
That movie was one of the saddest letdowns in cinematic history.
Yeah,
I really
it was pretty
had
rough,
hoped for something special. But.
All right, so next we're moving on to Roswell in 1947. Just weeks after the Mount Rainier sighting, something crashes near Roswell, New Mexico. The military first announces the recovery of a flying disc, then quickly changes the story. Weather balloon, Project Mogul, secret experiment. Nearly 80 years later, Roswell remains the king of UFO mysteries.
Yeah, that's a tough transition from flying disc to weather balloon. That's like, think fast. What are we going to say? The dog ate my homework.
Let's get back to the golden age of UFOs. 1952, Washington, D.C. UFO incident. Objects appear on radar over the nation's capital. Over the nation's capital, Steve. Pilots see them. Military radar tracks them. Jets are scrambled. The objects vanish. To this day, it remains one of the most famous government UFO incidents ever recorded.
And
I think that one's just straight up like, I mean, if there was other technology, I mean, obviously, we have certain hubs, and Washington, D.C. is definitely one of the power hubs of, our country and of the world. Mm-hmm. And I mean, why would you not check that out,
Right. Especially if there had been some form of communication prior to that, maybe in Roswell. And I forget if it was Eisenhower that allegedly had a communication with with one of these potential entities. So maybe it was a flyover, like, hey, don't forget about us. Remember whatever we talked about. So just reminding them of either a pact that was made or just a reminder of who might be in control of things.
Oh, I mean, to this day, they say it's one of the most famous government UFO incidents ever recorded. I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird though. 1952. Where have they been since then? But then again, maybe there's also things that are hidden. But we are finding out more, and that's why we're leading through all of this. Is because we're learning about the past. Because soon we may have an interesting future. I don't
Sure.
know. 1955, Kelly Hopkinsville Goblins. Let's say that again. Kelly Hopkinsville Goblins. A Kentucky family claims strange creatures surround their farmhouse. The encounter becomes one of the most bizarre alien cases in history. This one sounds fun. We should dive more into this one sometime because I'm sure there's been horror movies that have been inspired by this, but this sounds fun.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. And even though, I mean, these are what, 70, 75 years old, these stories of these past kind of, big moments in history, it's not that long ago. Collectively, it's just not that long ago. And I'm surprised we don't know more about it or hear more about it, but it's been taboo for so long. And people whom have investigated and looked into it up until just recently in the last handful of years have always been kind of ostracized and made out to be psychopaths or tinfoil hat people. So I understand why a lot of this stuff just never made it to the mainstream.
And that's why, as we go further, it's like, the people that actually, there are a lot of people that had a lot to lose by reporting these things, because people that were considered, upstanding citizens or people that owned businesses, I mean, it's not like it is today. Today, I mean, you can kind of walk around and say anything and nobody really bats an eye. But I mean, back then, it's like you were ostracized, with a story like that. People were like, oh, hey, there goes the crazy, Kelly family, thought they had aliens around their house, stay away from them. Kids, I don't want you playing with their kids.
Right.
That kind of crazy shit. And I mean, it was a big deal back then. And that's why a lot of people didn't want to report things. And a lot of the people that did come forward and report things, you have to kind of, think to yourself, like they had a lot more to lose than gain, really, by reporting it. So what would be their motivation?
Certainly. And it almost seemed as though it was meant to be made a mockery of. You think about, I mean, when I was a kid in the early 80s, and I remember going to the store with like my grandparents or something, and you'd always see like the Inquirer or the Sun or something like that. And my uncle married an alien from Venus or something. It's just something stupid.
Bat boy, man, bat boy.
Yeah, well, I mean, they just seem to, especially in the early 90s too, 80s to 90s, it seemed like there was a hit out on anything alien. We have to make it ridiculous. We have to make it a farce. And stuff like that goes a long way to kind of screwing up the validity of other experiences that people have actually had. You can have somebody who has a really, really interesting encounter that is very, very clear and presents well, and all it takes is one goofy, story from the Sun or the Inquirer to make that sound just as ridiculous and to put people off. And I think that was intended.
Yeah, I mean, probably was because I mean, obviously, even though I'm not really sure that I understand completely why, it seems like something that the government or I don't know, somebody or many people have wanted to kind of keep under wraps. So
Sure.
you're absolutely right about that. I mean, and it kind of makes me wonder. I mean, I wonder if we do end up with aliens amongst us sometime, I wonder if they're gonna have a sense of humor because if they go in the history, just all the different random like toys and movies and comic books and stuff that we've made. I mean, shit, if they really exist, that's almost like propaganda.
Hmm.
But going from there, we're going to go to the age of abductions. So from the age of abductions, we have in 1961, Betty and Barney Hill, perhaps the most famous alien abduction story ever told. Their account introduces many concepts that become staples of UFO lore. Examinations, missing time, gray beings, much of modern alien mythology begins here.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I mean, those are definitely the staples. I mean, whenever you hear people talk about abductions, they're always talking about, the examinations and bright lights and, they were gone for what felt like months.
Right. I'm going to fast forward briefly and kind of pay a little tribute to something that just came out, which I recommend that any viewer that might be interested watch. And if you haven't seen yet, you need to, and that's S4, the Bob Lazar story that just came out.
Physical evidence now exists which proves that there is life elsewhere, and at least one form of that life has been here. As of 1989, that evidence was in the custody of the United States government. Between December of 1988 and April of 1989, I worked as a senior staff physicist in what has to be the most secret project in history. My job in this program was to be part of a back engineering team. This particular disk appeared to be in excellent condition, and because of its sleek appearance, I nicknamed it the Sport Model. The goal in this program was to see if the technology of the disk could be duplicated with Earth materials. To start up the reactor, of course, we need some element 115. In fact, you need 223 grams, machined into a wedge like this. The program out at S4 consisted of 3 projects: Project Galileo, Project Sidekick, and Project Looking Glass.
The file on top was Project Galileo, and as it turned out, that's the project that I was part of. And that clearly referred to reverse engineering a recovered alien spacecraft.
Just cannot be a secret from anyone, not just the American people, but the rest of the world.
All this stuff is something that happened to him. It's not who he is.
They're doing everything they can to keep this information secret.
That's empirical evidence. I saw a craft to do that, thanks to him.
Now this story spills, and the world changed.
It is highly intriguing, and it talks about kind of interspatial travel and how time and gravity works and different things like that. It's very, very strange, but it made sense even to somebody like myself that doesn't understand the quantum physics and all that stuff. But the way that they explained it did make sense, and it seemed possible to why somebody would be gone for a long period of time on Earth, but a short period of time there, or vice versa. And that's definitely a must watch for both of you and anybody else who might be interested. And it goes a step further to talk about potential hybrids. And for example, like this Betty and Barney Hill thing being the first major abduction story, if you will. I would be interested, or at least hopefully down the road, wouldn't be shocked to find out that there could be alien hybrids on Earth that are more human than not and don't even know it.
I mean, I've seen some pretty strange looking people, man. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I've also met people that just seem like they didn't really understand what was going on around them either. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe either of those things could be a hint at aliens among us.
Interesting.
I have no idea. We're going to move on to Lonnie Zamora. A respectable police officer witnesses a landed craft and strange occupants in New Mexico. A lot of this shit's in like New Mexico, that kind of area. Mm-hmm. Many investigators consider this one of the most credible UFO cases ever.
Yeah, these are all cool ones to be able to pause and research on your own to see, what the meat and potatoes of the story truly is. But that's one I'd like to look into further.
Hollywood enters the game. 1968, 2001, A Space Odyssey was made. Kubrick changes science fiction forever. The idea of intelligent alien life becomes more sophisticated than ever before. And also all of the people trying to say that Kubrick, didn't a lot of people say he directed the moon landing?
Yes. Yeah.
There's like a huge thing about that.
He may have.
I think a lot of that's, I don't know, man. I really don't know either way.
I have a hard time.
That's the thing, man, is that information becomes so convoluted that like, I just get like, I'm just like, fuck it. I don't even care,
Well, there's that. And there's also, you've heard so much for so long that it kind of loses its luster a little bit too. I mean, everybody just believes that we landed on the moon because that's what they were told. And most of us, my age and your age, we weren't around to have seen it anyway. So All we've had is videos and stories, a third party's perspective, so to speak. And based off of everything I've seen and the where we're at now from a space exploration capability, we're not able to go to and land on the moon right now. So how the hell could we have done it back in the 60s? And you look at the suits that they were in. I mean, it looks like freaking that's what you would wear to go in to paint a house or something. I mean, and you're trying to tell me that it's just insane. But we just accept it that, oh yeah, we were on the moon and we landed on the moon, even though Buzz has told us 1,000 times we haven't. I believe it was 68 was the first transistor computer that had like 9 transistors the size of like a lantern and took up the size of almost like a full room in a house. So, and we're flying to the moon and landing on the moon back then. But
Yeah,
we can't do it now. And not only that, it's like getting married and then recording over the ball game over your wedding tape. We got rid of all the film. We lost everything. It just does not make sense. But that's the world we live in now. We're supposed to just accept it and move on. And I'm getting sick of that, actually.
In 1977, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Spielberg, another big dog, brings UFOs into the mainstream. For many people, this movie becomes the definitive alien film.
Indeed. And it's a good one. I love that movie. I really do.
I like it more than 2001 Space Odyssey because, quite frankly, man, 2001 Space Odyssey to me is a little slow, very slow.
Right.
Slow movie. I can say that that's a great work of art and still think it's boring as shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. If I had to pick between the two, absolutely, Close Encounters would definitely do it. And Back to the Future, as you say, with Disclosure Day coming out again on Friday. I think the last trailer that I saw had kind of an attachment to it where Spielberg is actually voicing over the trailer. He says something to the effect about when he did Close Encounters of the Third Kind back in 1977, he thought to himself, how cool would it be if this was real? And now he says, how cool is it that we can show people that this is real now? So his new movie that's coming out, he is claiming that it's real. And that this is real, and this is an opportunity to put it out there for people to make their decisions. So another reason why I'm just super excited about it.
You know what? We're going to take a second right now, and I'm going to show the trailer.
I can see them. I am much more inclined now than I was when I made Close Encounters to really believe that we're not the only intelligent civilization in the universe.
What did you steal?
Secrets. People have a right to know the truth. This is a story about us. All of us.
Good morning, Kansas City.
Up against the most extraordinary event in human history.
What's happening to me? I'm frightened. I'm frightened out of my wits.
You don't need to be. You have someone else.
Daniel Kellner.
Who is this?
Do not go back to the house. They found you. I don't know who you are, but they're gonna kill you.
The human race cannot accept what we know. We need to stop it any way we can.
What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? This 79-year cover-up of the truth has to end.
We're interrupting our coverage.
How will disclosure change us? I believe for the better. It will remind us of our capacity for empathy, and that there is something bigger out there than just ourselves. The only way to know your purpose is to go back to where it all began. I know you.
I know you do. What happened to us?
I used to say to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if all of this turned out to be true? I'm now thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful for people to know they're coming? all of this is true.
Disclosure Day.
Yeah, that does look pretty good. And I got to say, Spielberg has definitely done a lot for Alien kind. And we're going to get back to that in just a second. But first, we're going to discuss 1979. And this is the quintessential film for a lot of Alien fanatics out there. And it's actually 1979 was the year the movie Alien came out.
Mm-hmm.
The xenomorph arrives. Suddenly, aliens aren't friendly visitors anymore. They're nightmare fuel. These movies are great, man. And that's the thing, too, is like, you know, you start talking about all these alien films and you're like, what are these aliens going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be humanoid? Are they going to be vicious monsters? Probably multiple species. I mean, there's got to be more than just two life forms.
Absolutely. I mean, you take something silly like Star Trek or something like that. There were so many different types of entities that were out there, and obviously they all had two arms, two legs, and spoke English for the most part. But you know, it was a kind of a play off of that. That yes, there has to be, if there's one thing out there, there's 100,000 things out there. There has to be.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is that there probably is some kind of xenomorph like entity out there. As scary as that may be, we may never see it. Probably won't. But I mean, it's probably out there. Think about that when you go to bed.
I mean, we've got stuff on Earth that, you know, saltwater crocodiles and great white sharks and, you know, hippos and rhinos. And I mean, just lots of different things that are in their own right very, very formidable and scary under the right circumstances. So,
and imagine that there's an alien colony somewhere out there in the galaxy universe, wherever it may be, and the kids, fuck it, man, there's two people just like us sitting there and being like, dude, imagine like somewhere out there, hippos are real. Think about that when you go to bed at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because hippos are pretty scary. You are right about that, man.
For sure.
I've seen some crazy hippo stuff.
Yep.
But we're not going to be, waking up in a cold sweat for too long, because the next thing on the list is back to Spielberg. 1982. You know what that was, baby? E.T. Phone Home.
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg flips the script and creates one of the most beloved extraterrestrials ever. I don't know, man. That movie was like, so that movie was around at a weird time. Well, it was made a year before I was born, but I watched that movie as a young child, and that movie was both heartwarming and scary as shit all at once, because when I was a kid, it was like the part where they came in the suits and stuff like that, and they were like, I mean, that was really kind of a frightening experience as a child, honestly, that whole scene there.
Right. And if you want to talk about cinema being a preparatory type of avenue or means to be able to get information out to people, it almost feels like if we want to talk about Spielberg being the conduit for that, this might have been one of those kind of false or kind of launches that didn't end up happening. You know, like maybe they were getting to the point where, all right, we're going to start talking about ETs, extraterrestrials. It's time. People are intrigued. They want to know. They're seeing a lot more of it. We can't. How long can we hide it from people? So let's try to humanize them, make them a little bit more palatable. And what better way than to do it on the big screen? So in doing so, you're able to get a little bit of information out there and also kind of simmer down that boiling pot to the point where it would be easier to disclose certain information. And maybe that was kind of a chance that they either missed out on or decided to kind of back off of. But I could see it being something like that.
Well, he was definitely a very lovable alien.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure it's going to show up here on the list, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Alf.
Oh, I love Alf.
I love Alf too, man. And if the aliens end up being like Alf, I would probably, I mean, I do have a few cats, and that would be probably something that we'd have to talk about or something, but I'd let an Alf live with me, man. Also in 1982, your favorite, The Thing. John Carpenter delivers what many horror fans consider one of the greatest alien horror films ever made.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because I know that it is aliens. Absolutely. I understand that. I understand The Thing is an alien driven movie, but I've always in my mind put it more in the creature feature section than the alien section.
I agree.
I mean, I know that it's like, obviously this, it's a compound, I guess, or something from another planet that, invades living creatures. But I don't know, man. To me, it was always creature feature. But then we're going to move on to 1987, where we have the big bad alien hunter, the Predator, becomes one of cinema's most iconic monsters.
Yeah.
Now see, it's
Predator
interesting.
was fantastic, man.
From there, we're going to go on to some of the big sightings. 1980 was the Rendlesham Forest. Military personnel encounter strange lights near a U.S. Air Force base in England. Many call it Britain's Roswell. From there, we're going to go to Belgium, and 1989 to 1990, the Belgian UFO wave. Thousands report massive triangular craft.
A triangle in the air. There's nothing up there that's going to be a triangle. And that's something that if you're seeing triangles in the sky, I mean, it's not anything natural. That's for sure.
Well, they're seeing triangles over there in Belgium in 1989 to 1990, and military investigated, and that also remains unsolved. Aerial school encounter. Over 60 school children in Zimbabwe report seeing strange beings near their playground. One of the most compelling mass witness cases ever recorded.
I think I've even seen something on this. The kids are now adults, obviously, but recollecting and having that story before.
Now we're coming into more of our era. I mean, 1994 was, our era, but moving on into 97, the Phoenix Lights. Thousands of people witness enormous lights silently crossing Arizona. One of the largest UFO sightings in history. I mean, it's so interesting to think that, like, I don't know, man, why are we not talking about these things more? Or why were these things not talked about more? And the fact that thousands of people witnessed it. And I mean, I don't remember hearing much about it.
I think once again, it's a matter of even in the 90s, the only way information was to spread was either through a television or newspaper. And so if you're being told not to broadcast it on TV, then you're not going to hear about it. It's not somebody taking their cell phone and posting it online, an hour later.
Well, I'm sure it was all the buzz in Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm sure it was. And I'm guessing that a lot of people that were there were potentially given ultimatums too. If they were met by anybody within the military or government that states, no, you didn't see anything, and no, we're not going to talk about it, or X, Y, and Z. So I think it was very easy to keep that sort of stuff under wraps. But now in the new era of how any bit of information can get out, and so there's no way to keep that under wraps. And I think now more than ever, they're starting to realize that they can't keep this a secret for much longer.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's the thing though, in that you and I discuss this all the time, and you and I have very differing opinions on this for the most part, is that, as I always say though, man, I mean, I feel like realistically, it's all about the response. Like, I feel like if 1,000 UFOs flew over us right now, we all saw it, everybody was like, what the fuck was that? And we're all talking about it. I mean, honestly, I think that people wouldn't be talking about it 3 days afterwards.
Yeah, it's very possible.
And I think that the only thing that makes it viable is the response. I think if, like, the government or the news channels or the media or whoever it is behind any of this was just like, hey, whatever, we would just be like, oh, well, whatever. I mean, I don't know, man. I guess things had to be different back then, because I mean, I just don't feel like they need to keep information from us these days, because I don't think it affects anything. I don't think people are affected. I think everybody's so, like, wrapped up in what's in front of them and what they're doing that I think, shit, man. I mean, I don't know what it would take to wake people up.
No, but I mean, I don't even think it's about the knowledge that they're keeping from us. I think it's the ability to be able to continue to hoard the power and the financial gain that they may have been receiving from whatever crash materials and some of the electronics, if you will, or just the stuff that we never knew about, or the reverse engineering, if you will, of things. I think that it's been very advantageous and very financially important to a lot of people to keep it under wraps. And I think that's why it's up to this point been continued to be kept under wraps.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably right about that. But at the same time, I mean, the common man wouldn't know what to do with that kind of thing anyway.
No, for sure.
But it was 1993, The X-Files, The Truth Is Out There. We've all heard that.
Love that
Alien
show.
conspiracies become mainstream entertainment. an entire generation becomes fascinated with UFOs. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this, and I know we're talking about UFOs and we're focused on UFOs here, but the UFO alien part of the X-Files was my least favorite part of the X-Files. I really liked the early episodes where Mulder and Scully had like weird cases of like just unknown creatures and things, you know, like when they were chasing Sasquatches and weird hill people and shit like that. Like that was a lot more entertaining to me than the actual UFO conspiracy part.
I would agree. In a similar way, like Supernatural, that TV series that started off with werewolves and cryptids and things, and then it just completely went angels and demons for like 10 seasons. Like they ran out of ideas, and it got old. But I agree. There's another show that, if I recall, it may have only had one season, but it was right in the heart of X-File time period. I would have guessed maybe mid-90s, and that was called Dark Skies. I don't know if you ever saw that series.
I vaguely remember that.
That's a pretty decent watch, man. That's kind of cool. And it's all alien related, and it's a cool watch, man.
Moving on from X-Files, we going to jump a couple years to Independence Day, 1996. Can you believe Independence Day was 1996? Holy shit.
30 years.
Wow. I remember when that came out.
Me too.
Aliens invade Earth and destroy landmarks, one of the biggest sci-fi blockbusters ever made. Independence Day, that was a big hit. And then Men in Black, of course, another Will Smith one. Maybe Will Smith has something to do with these aliens just like Spielberg does, because he's in Men in Black, and we had him in
Independence Day.
The mysterious government agents become pop culture icons. That was another one, too, where, I don't know, man, the last one I saw, it's like, I feel like I'm kind of glad they stopped where they stopped now, because the last one I saw kind of felt like they were dragging it out a little too much.
Yeah.
But that brings us to more recent times and some of the things that you really like discussing. The disclosure era is what I call this. 2004, the Tic Tac incident. Navy pilots encounter a white object performing maneuvers that appear impossible. No wings, no visible propulsion, instant acceleration. This case changes everything. 2, we have the New York Times bombshell. The existence of a secret Pentagon UFO investigation program becomes public. Suddenly, UFOs aren't just conspiracy theories anymore. And this was around the time that I was telling you that, wow, they are coming out with this stuff and nobody cares. And that was actually before the pandemic. And of course, you know, they did confirm it during the pandemic, and we'll get to that after the gimbal. But 2017 was gimbal Go Fast and Fleur videos. So those were all 2017. Those were 3 huge videos in 1 year.
Absolutely.
Military footage of unexplained objects goes worldwide. Millions see them. The conversation changes overnight. I mean, that was 3 major events, 2017. So, I mean, it's like we're really building up here, you know? And that's kind of what we're doing this for, and what we're talking about is that we're really building up to something. We feel like, you know, something big is going to be happening here soon.
And you look at some of these videos that we're seeing, I think about how palatable they are, how easy they are to consume and to look at and be like, well, yeah, that's pretty cool. Doesn't mean there isn't another 150 videos from 2004 to 2017 that they haven't shown us yet that might be a little bit more edgy or that we're potentially not ready for yet. Think of it as learning a foreign language. You don't be in something the moment you start. They have to teach you, you know, the phonetics of it, the baby steps, and kind of spoon feed you as you go until you get to the point where, as you consume more and more, you learn more, and you're able to speak that language. So I think in the same way, that's kind of what's going on here, is that we're getting fed a little bit at a time to kind of warm us up to what's coming next. And so, which I feel is a very big moment in our lives coming up.
Well, we're definitely building up to that on this show, and that's why we've covered aliens a lot, is because we're kind of, you know, I guess hoping to sort of get on top of the whole disclosure here, if you will. And then what I was just mentioning was 2020, the Pentagon confirmation. The U.S. government officially confirms the videos are authentic military recordings.
Part of the Pentagon's release of more than 50 declassified videos and first-hand accounts following President Trump's directive to release government UFO files.
Very bright particles or fragments or something.
The files include audio of astronauts decades ago describing mysterious bright lights and particles.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of big ones on my window there. Just bright. Looks like the 4th of July out Ron's window.
And this report from last year. In an encounter that lasted over an hour, a U.S. intelligence officer reported oval-shaped orange orbs coming within 10 feet of a U.S. helicopter, splitting in two and speeding away, leaving military and intelligence professionals speechless.
That was the time where I was like, Steve, they just said that aliens exist and nobody gives a shit.
Yep, because they didn't care, because they were more worried about gas prices and grocery bills and the jab and everything else. And so it was a great opportunity for them to slip it out there. By the way, you've got, X, Y, and Z. That's great. So I don't know. I mean, but the ball's rolling downhill. It's not going to stop.
And that's just it. I mean, when we started this whole timeline out, we were talking about, in the very beginning, a couple thousand years between each major event. And then it was a couple hundred years. And then it was a couple decades. And, now we're getting to the point, where the gimbal go fast and blur videos were 2017. Then 2020 was the Pentagon confirmation. The next one we have is 2021 UAP report. And the government officially admits many sightings remain unexplained. That's 1 year later. So then 2 years later, 2023, David Grush testimony.
Following concerning reports from multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the U.S. government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs.
A former intelligence officer alleges secret crash retrieval programs involving non-human technology. The claims dominate headlines. So now we're in 2023. I mean, we're really building up here, we're definitely, there's only, and like you said, there's so many events between then. I really just compiled some of the largest, bullet points here to kind of just show, this is the history of what we've seen and what we've heard, the majority of us about aliens up until now. From the David Grush testimony in 2023, our next event is 2024, the present. And that is that the congressional hearings continue, investigations continue, questions continue, answers, not so much. But we've got a lot of people, and we've talked about this on and off the show. We've got a lot of people that are very credible out there talking in front of, Congress and talking in these very serious platforms about, what they've seen and experienced. And I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I even put together a little video that I made sort of building up to all of this where it shows some of that footage. And
do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
It's a UFO, I swear to God it is.
This is the first big batch of UFO disclosure ordered by President Trump. The War Department cannot say for sure what this is. It is officially still listed as an unresolved UAP report. A small and circular UAP. CENTCOM can't tell us what it is.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Furthermore, the U.S. is in possession of UAP technologies. I believe we are in the midst of a multi-decade secretive arms race.
NASA has whole archives of data.
This level of censorship, of redaction, it's time for us to know the truth about this.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, yes or no?
Yes.
That the U.S. government has recovered alien technology from non-human sources and is currently working to reverse engineer.
The president needs to address this issue.
Russia and China have also found craft and are also reverse engineering. This is a secret arms race happening.
Are aliens real?
They're real. Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
Begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And the first releases will begin very, very soon.
When you have people that are testifying, in Congress to the parts that they've played in these conspiracies, and how can you deny that as fact,
Right. And there's been a lot of people that have either gone missing or lost their lives, typically by offing themselves, which is highly unlikely, which is enough for anybody who has knowledge about something like that to take stock and be like, I think I'm going to keep my mouth shut, because there's some, the guy who claimed that he got hit with like a energy blast that melted his hand and put a hole in his chest or something. I don't know if you remember that story, but that happened, I believe, in the 90s. They were going down into some like military complex underground or something, and there was like a firefight that happened between aliens that were underneath, that took over this place or whatever. And he was able to make it out, but he ended up literally, his hand was all melted and about gone. And he ended up either shooting himself in the back of the head or hanging himself or something shortly after he brought all of that to light. Yeah, it was Phil Schneider.
Phil Schneider, good memory on you, man.
Yeah, he was an interesting cat. This guy had a lot of. He passed away in '96. So, and by passed away, I think he was passed away in '96.
Unalived, as they say these days.
That's it.
Well,
yeah, that's a story you need to look into. That's a wild one, and it's one of those ones that just is so like sci-fi and like Hollywood that it just doesn't sound like it even could be. It sounds completely ridiculous. But
I feel
like it could be true.
I've got some discussion questions for the viewers. What I would like to know is, what is the most convincing UFO case in history, in your opinion? Roswell or Phoenix Lights? Are aliens extraterrestrial or interdimensional? We haven't even talked about that. But it's a possibility. A lot of people say that Sasquatch is interdimensional. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting theories out there. Why are governments suddenly talking about UFOs openly? Why now? Is disclosure happening slowly? What alien movie got it right? I would love to know what alien movie people think is the closest to what they would predict is going to happen, or what aliens are going to be like. If aliens revealed themselves tomorrow, would humanity react? My guess is no, or slightly. Steve, I think you're more on like the mass hysteria apocalypse side of things.
I just feel that there is, especially as I'm seeing, if I open Facebook or turn on the TV or even watch YouTube videos, it seems like we're at a boil over point as a society. There's so many different things. Everybody seems to be fighting all the time. People are killing each other. It seems like we've got to a point where everything is starting to come to a head. And I've often questioned over the history of mankind as I know it. Do we kind of rise and fall as civilizations? Do we get to a point where we get too big for our britches and we end up ending ourselves? And or do we get to a point where we create and we do things to the detriment of this earth, which I would imagine is more important than the creatures on it, and some secondary involvement comes along and says, yeah, it's time to wipe you guys out and start over, and let the earth heal. And so it's hard to know. It's hard to know if I know there's been talks of like ultimatums back during once again, I think it was Eisenhower allegedly had a conversation with an alien entity that stated that your guys' time is up. You need to start changing and doing things. And if not, we're going to right the ship, so to speak. So there's so many different possibilities out there. But in my lifetime, I've never seen the world in a fashion that it is today. And I feel that everybody is all over the place. We're like scattered ants, just kind of doing our own thing. And I think things have gotten out of control a little bit.
But what if they are peaceful, more ET-like, and they're going to come bring us peace?
I think we would treat them as hostile, as if they were, honest to God. I think that, if they came in peace, or if they were marauding, killers, we would treat it the same way. Shoot it down, ask questions later.
Sadly, you're probably right about that.
And I believe that's what we've done up to this point, is we don't know, so let's take care of it.
Well, in Mars Attacks, they were willing to give them a chance, and then...
We come in peace. We come in peace. We come in peace. We come in peace. They came in peace. We come in peace. We come in peace.
No. Yeah, that didn't work out very well.
It did not.
Yeah. but they were willing to give them a chance in that. I mean, it was kind of a comedy, but
Yeah. I mean, I truly believe, and maybe it's just me and the kid in me too, wanting to be excited, like, the night before Christmas, waiting to open your gifts. I feel like this movie has got so much riding on it to how things move forward and how we perceive it and how we consume it as just solely entertainment or something deeper.
I think that one thing that movies give us a lot of hope on that we don't actually have, and maybe we don't realize this because we get hope from movies, but when you watch a lot of movies, you see individuals, in circumstances where they have more power, more control, more say in situations. Even a lot of times in movies, it's common people. But the truth is that the sad truth is that if aliens were to come to this planet tomorrow, you and I and basically most normal people, we have absolutely no say in how that situation is going to play out or how it's going to be treated. Unfortunately, a lot of decisions are made for us. And unfortunately, a lot of outcomes are just for us to deal with. And they're the making of other people, because we're not going to be the ones to decide to shoot down and ask questions later. That's not going to be you and I making that decision, but we're going to have to deal with the consequences of that.
Absolutely.
And that's the sad part about everything is that our society and the way that it's built and the way and kind of how we've done things is that we have people that are in power that, a lot of times most people don't even agree with, making decisions that affect your life as you know it. And there's nothing that you can do one way or the other about that.
Yep. The minority makes decisions for the majority without our consent now. And that's exactly the opposite of what it was intended to be.
And I mean, when you think about even like war, for example, you've got two sides in war. You usually have a lot of people fighting one another. And it's not even really their battle when you get down to it, And if those people just stopped for a second and asked each other, why do we hate each other? They probably wouldn't even really be able to have a good answer for that. And if you ask them honestly, would you rather put down your guns and go have a beer together or keep shooting at each other? I'm sure everybody would rather put down their guns and go have a beer together.
Right.
But sure. we're out there fighting and dying for things that
are inconsequential in reality. And yeah, no, it is the truth. And I don't know. I mean, I think we're on the precipice, though. I think it's a game changer here coming up here and just on Friday, and I think it's going to be the next step in that kind of preparatory. And you look at these movies we've discussed too. I feel in hindsight that so many of these may have been a means to be able to get little tidbits out there. Yes, it's under the guise of entertainment, but there might have been some truth to some of this stuff that was being kind of baby fed to us little by little to be able to prepare us to be able to consume this information, as I keep stating. As this stuff comes out and is divulged, even if it feels like it is real and true, people will still choose to believe it or not, even with it being presented in the fashion that it has been.
Well, that's been my perspective the whole time, but don't go jumping on my boat because we got to see who's right when it all comes down to this, man. You've stated the other side.
Yep. No, I am.
And I think that we're going to be sitting here, if we're still doing the show, I think that in 10 years, I'm going to be like, look, dude, there's an alien out there right now, literally cutting my grass and nobody fucking cares. Like they've just, we all live together somehow peacefully, hopefully. And nobody gave a fuck. I think that's what's going to happen. And that's what makes this topic so fascinating, because after thousands of years, millions of witnesses, countless sightings, government investigations, radar tracks, pilot testimony, movies, books, and documentaries, we're still left with the same question. What are people seeing? Maybe the answer is completely ordinary. Maybe it's advanced technology. Maybe it's something we haven't discovered yet. Or maybe the biggest revelation in human history is still waiting just beyond the next sighting. Until then, we'll keep watching the skies, we'll keep asking questions, and we'll keep chasing the mystery, because whether you're a believer or a skeptic, you have to admit something about this story keeps pulling us back. And honestly, that might be the strangest part of it all. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, subscribe, and join Psychopinion family. And let us know in the comments what UFO case convinced you that something truly unexplained is happening. Until next time, pinheads, keep looking up.
Oh no.
For decades, unknown objects have freely operated in restricted airspace in large metropolitan areas and critical infrastructure, and the agencies responsible for securing the homeland cannot adequately defend against it. This is a serious national security issue. In my official duties, I was exposed to human and signals intelligence information concerning foreign adversary, UAP crash retrieval, exploitation and study efforts, adversary views on U.S. legacy program reverse engineering efforts, and U.S.-held audiovisual information related to crash retrieval matters, such as the recovered vehicles and the associated biological material.